My name is Kristy Wilson. I am the historic healer, and I guide people to their past and their history, as well as the Earth's history or the universe's history, to heal their present through quantum hypnosis. And I feel like I need to get one of those like Will Smith like raps, like how did my life get turned upside down, like kind of deal. Well, I started out as a history major, and I have a degree in history as well as philosophy. And during college, I got really hooked into both, like, I guess, mystical, like Catholicism, as well as mystical Judaism, and then occult philosophy. So I always kind of had one foot in the door because who doesn't like magic? And then mixed with history. So about 2 years ago, maybe more than that now, I for the past 20 years, 20 some years, I've worked at Walt Disney World, and I was on my lunch break and I was scrolling through my phone and I kept seeing this woman talking about Atlantis. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm on my freaking lunch break. I don't want to hear about Disney right now. And I thought we were doing a live action Atlantis movie. It turns out I like kept flicking off of it, but her image kept coming up no matter how much I scrolled through. And her name was Sarah Bressman Cosme, who is a level 3 quantum healer hypnosis technique through the Dolores Cannon's method. And she was talking about her latest book, how she regressed a girl and went back to a life in Atlantis. And I was like, wait, what? Like, isn't Atlantis a myth? Like, isn't that like what Plato like discovered and we already found where it is? What is this woman talking about? And I'm not a tech person. I don't download anything. And within like a day, I downloaded her book, and it was mind blowing to the point where I'm like, this woman is describing things that like I see on a daily basis or in my dreams. And that's her, Sarah Bressman Cosme's first book, which is a Hypnotist's Guide to Journey to Atlantis. Then I get to her second book, and it's like about the mystery of the Sphinx. And her client regresses to a girl named Kristy. So now she has my attention. Like this, I'm reading this book, and it's about a girl named Jen, and she has a brain tumor, and she went to go see Sarah for healing. And then she regresses to a life in the 1970s as a girl named Kristy. I'm like, okay, you've got my attention. In 2012, I had a brain tumor in my third eye, just like this girl Jen did. And then the fact that her name is Kristy. And she goes through the entire story, and she's literally describing my life down to the way she had her brain surgery, where she is regressed to this woman who's having, fully awake, fully aware, and could feel having like part of her brain taken out of her. Like she had a full lobotomy in her book. And then I'm thinking, okay, that's interesting, because I was under, and I was like, that's the same way they did my surgery. So I was like, okay. And then she keeps going and keeps going, and everything parallels to my life. So I see that Sarah is speaking at an event, and I go to see her, and I tell her my story. I was like, is this common to have all these similarities? And she's like, no, not even in this world. I'm like, okay, can I get a session? She's like, no, I'm 2 years booked out. I was like, but I have a workshop coming up. I said, okay. And it was like $800 for this workshop. And I'm like, where am I going to come up with $800? Literally, I'm outside right now. Like over here, I found $800 buried in my yard full of coins. I have the pictures. I'm not making this up. I probably could describe it a lot better, but I don't know if anyone could see, but there was $800 in those 2 jars buried right over here. And I had lived at this house since 2016. And I'm like, okay. And then I call her back, and she's like, can I just ask how you got my phone number? I'm like, it's on your website. And she's like, I don't have my phone number on my website. Where did you get my number? Like, it's getting a little weird at this point, even from her point of view, after telling my story. And then, so she said, I signed up for her workshop, and she's like, I actually have a cancellation the day before the workshop. Would you like to come in for a session? So I did. And she's like, it's a $200 deposit. I said, no problem. And then I get a phone call from a neighbor. She's like, that book that you lent me has a card with $200 from your aunt in it. I was like, wait, what? Like, so the money was just coming to me to go see Sarah. I go and see Sarah for a regression, and she's like, your story is picking up right where my last client left off. And her first two books were about like Lemuria and Atlantis. And then my story picks up with the story of Avalon, which is another lost civilization that talks about the Fae world, that talks about dragons, fairies, which is kind of a derogatory term from what I've learned, but you say what works for you. You name it, all of the impossible, like everything that I had worked around at Disney World for the past 20 years was literally coming to life when she put me under. I know that's a roundabout way and a really hard way to describe it, and a big rabbit hole on it is. And also part of fairy brain is we're very neurodivergent. So I hope I describe that in the best way possible. So